Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. It's a Wednesday, and you know how we do. We bring you the latest, most interesting sports news from around the world. I believe I have Sayo Oguntoye with me this morning, accompanying me on this journey. Sayo?
Good morning to you, Bukayo Kidogo. It's good to be here once again.
Thank you for joining me. Obviously, we have to start in Nigeria. But after that, we will see what's going on in the rest of the world, especially the Champions League matches from yesterday. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have been dealt a major setback ahead of the African Cup of Nations, as it was announced that renowned scorer Victor Osimhen would miss the competition in January. In Napoli's Serie A match against Inter Milan at the San Siro Stadium on Sunday evening, Osimhen suffered two serious injuries. According to post-match tests, the 22-year-old was left with an orbital fracture and a broken cheekbone after colliding with Inter defender Milan Skriniar. Napoli confirmed he would require surgery. The surgery on the former Lille star took place on Tuesday morning, and it was a success. Napoli, on the other hand, announced that he will be sidelined for 3 months, therefore ruling him out of the AFCON. This newest development is a major setback for the Super Eagles, who rely on the former Lille striker to win a fourth continental title. Since 2019, Osimhen has been Nigeria's top man, scoring 10 goals in just 19 games for the three-time African champions. This is terrible news for the Super Eagles, don't you think, Sayo?
Well, it's a very sad one, I must say. Ever since the retirement of Odion Gallo, I think Victor Osimhen has stepped up, took up the leadership mantle in the forward or in the attacking lineup, so to say, and he's been the most potent threat we've had so far, so good in the last couple of months, and I think in the past year. So it's going to be a great miss for Nigeria. 3 months out, it's not a good way to go for Nigeria, but we still have able talent in that attacking set. We witnessed a Nigerian play against Manchester United over the weekend, and within few minutes he created a goal and he scored a goal for himself. So it's a position where we have major attacking talent. So I'm not really bothered about it, but
then
we will
the
need
go-to striker in Osimhen's absence, especially for whoever the new manager, the new Nigerian football national team's head coach will have likely to choose, will be Iheanacho. The striker hasn't really hit the ground running for his nation. He's not as prolific as Osimhen. And Odion Gallo was an experiment started by Gennett Rohr, who is now left. So what does this mean in terms of options? Who is the best option to start for us as a number 9?
Well, as for who is the best option, it depends on the coach, what he wants to do. We have Paul Onuachu, who is a fantastic player. It's a different kind of player to Victor Osimhen. We also have Kelechi Iheanacho himself. We have Odion Gallo. We have Emmanuel Dennis. There's Cyril. The list is endless. We have a good number of players that can fill into that position. But it remains how the Serbian coach wants to play. I mean, he has a whole lot of variety ahead of him. So
you're certainly
it remains
right that
to
we
see
have
how
a lot
he
of
wants
options.
to play, and let's see how he can actually gel into the team. Because it's one thing to want to play in a way, it's another thing to gel as a team, especially in the attacking pair.
Well, let's hope whoever takes over understands how to best utilize these myriad of attacking talents. Now, for the Champions League matches yesterday, Chelsea's 4-0 thrashing of Juventus on Tuesday, November 23rd, sent a resounding message from West London to the rest of Europe. The Champions League holders are determined to retain the title they won against all odds in May. Thomas Tuchel's players executed the German coach's game plan to perfection against the Italians, seizing control of Group H with one round of fixtures left before the knockout stage. From kickoff until the final whistle, the Blues smothered the Juve with a pressing game that penned them into their own half for much of a match which could have seen a bigger margin of victory but for the inspired goalkeeping by Szczesny. It was a very strong performance, an outstanding result, Tuchel told reporters. To score so many goals against a team who defend so well is a fantastic result for us. We will keep the feet on the ground, but it was a very strong match. Asked if he felt Chelsea were on course to successfully defend the title they won in May, 4 months after Tuchel took over an erratic Chelsea side that sat mid-table in the Premier League, the German added, "We need to do it step by step." Sayo, everyone has spoken in glowing terms about Manchester City, how well Pep has organized the players. Everyone knows their responsibility. Everyone knows what spaces on the pitch they have to take up, who needs to run when, and every move seems to trigger another move on some part of some other player. But is there any team in the Champions League in Europe more well-disciplined and organized than this Chelsea squad?
Mukayo, this morning I want to make a confession. When Tuchel took over Chelsea, I didn't give him a chance because of his antecedents at PSG. He has a star-studded squad. He could not win the Champions League. He could only win them the Ligue 1. But after taking over Chelsea, he said this, that he wants to build, or he's going to build a team that nobody will be happy to play against. And I can tell you at the moment, he has succeeded in doing that. Look at the match yesterday, 4-0 against Juventus. He fielded a fairly weakened side. Look at the goal scorers, Chalobah, Reece James, Hudson-Odoi. I mean, these are not regular players, except for maybe Reece James. Odoi is not a regular player. Chalobah is not a regular player. And we all know Timo Werner doesn't score much in the APL lately. But he came on as a substitute. He still scored a goal in the 96th minute. This shows you that if you take out a country, bring in an academy player, they still play the same way. That's the identity.
That brings me directly to my next question. The fact is, Chelsea have had 15 different scorers this season. And in the absence of Lukaku and even Werner, they seem to have hit the ground running. They seem to have gone up a gear. Even though most matches that they play, they're still playing in third gear. The commentators yesterday said Chelsea were still playing in third gear, and yet they scored 4 goals against a Juventus team that is highly disciplined and capable of defending against any team in the world. Is Lukaku's return likely to throw that team's dynamic off balance?
That shows you that this Chelsea team is not a one-man team. It's a team chemistry in itself. Like I was saying earlier, if you take out Kante, bring in a Gilmore, they still play the same way. I could remember last season they played majorly their youth team, and they still won City last season. The same way to take out Lukaku, bring in a Timo Werner, or bring him a Hudson-Odoi, they still play and they score goals. Before this moment, Lukaku was actually on a goal drop before he went on that injury.
Right now, I'm actually quite impressed at how Tuchel has managed to develop these players. Each player, no matter how experienced they are, seems to have gone up a level. And the youngsters, like Reece James, are hitting form. Trevor Chalobah is having a fantastic debut season with the first team. What more can Tuchel do? Are they capable of actually winning the Champions League this season?
I don't want to say I want to see them win the Champions League because it will be too boring. Chelsea won it last time. They're going to win it this time. But I think they deserve it because so far so good. Look at the right side of the defense, for example. If it is Chalobah that is playing there, he makes an impact, he scores. If it is Rich James, it makes assist, he scores. If it is Jesus Liqueta, it makes assist. So everyone is trying to justify a stake on that certain spot. And that is how it is for all the teams. Look at Rudiger. Look at Thiago Silva. I mean, Kovacic, Jorginho, these are players that necessarily were not doing well under Lampard. But now, Chelsea is a scary team right now.
All right. Let's go to a team that has a little more struggles on their trails. Late goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho were enough to earn an underwhelming Manchester United a 2-0 victory at Villarreal on Tuesday, November 23rd. That guarantees them a spot in the Champions League knockout stages. United came into the contest knowing victory would see them through to the last 16 with one group match left to play. But in Michael Carrick's first game as interim manager, United looked shorn of ideas in attack in the Estadio de la Ceramica. The home side had much the better chances with United goalkeeper David De Gea bailing his side out with several fine saves, the best of which denied Manu Trigaros a goal. Out of nowhere, however, a poor pass from Villarreal keeper Geronimo Rulli that was miscontrolled by Etienne Capoue was then seized upon by Ronaldo, who lofted the ball over the stranded Rulli to give United the lead in the 78th minute. As the home side pressed for an equalizer, the visitors countered in the 90th minute with Jadon Sancho hammering home to put the game to bed and send United top of Group F with 10 points, 3 ahead of Villarreal, who can no longer catch Carrick's side due to their inferior head-to-head record. Now, of course, Dynamo Kiev, as was expected, lost, but not by much, to Bayern Munich as the game ended 2-1 to Bayern. Villarreal lost, of course, 2-0 to Manchester United. Chelsea, 4-0 victory over Juventus. Sevilla, 2-0 over Wolfsburg. Malmo 1-1 against Zenit St. Petersburg. And Lille 1-0 victory over Salzburg. Young Boys managed to draw a fantastic 3-3 result against Atalanta. Now, in the Champions League fixtures for today, Manchester City will be facing PSG, but aside from them, Besiktas will face Ajax, Inter Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk, Sporting Lisbon versus Dortmund, Manchester City, as we've said before, against PSG, Atletico Madrid versus AC Milan. Liverpool will not take Porto lightly. Club Brugge versus RB Leipzig, and Sheriff versus Real Madrid for a chance for Real Madrid to get some revenge. Now, Manchester City are determined to return to the Champions League final and will use their disappointment of losing last season's showpiece as motivation, midfielder Ilkay Gundogan said on Tuesday, November 23rd. City reached their first ever Champions League final in May, but lost 1-0 to Chelsea, with Gundogan collecting his second runners-up medal, having been on the losing Borussia Dortmund side in 2013. Pep Guardiola's side can reach the last 16 of this season's competition on Wednesday, November 24th, when they welcome Paris Saint-Germain and their Group A clash, and Gundogan said he is itching to go all the way this time. PSG won their home match against City 2-0 in September. But Guardiola's side have won all their other games so far and topped the group on 9 points, one ahead of the French club in their bid to secure a favourable draw in the next round. City forward Jack Grealish missed the weekend Premier League win over Everton, but could feature on Wednesday, while Kevin De Bruyne is in self-isolation following a positive COVID-19 test. Now, of course, Sayo, this is a rematch of an earlier meeting from September. But who do you think wins this rematch?
Well, I think City has the upper hand here. They actually, for me, a bit stronger because PSG have not gotten themselves well. Messi has not really gelled into that team. The chemistry at the attacking third is missing. Sergio Ramos is still yet to play for PSG. So they have a whole lot of problems. Plus the fact that Pochettino might go to United or he might stay. All of these can actually have a mode on PSG. But having said that, I think City are strong. PSG also are strong. But I think City just last season they went in the final of the Champions League and they actually added a Jack Grealish to the team. So I think they want to actually go further by winning the cup this time. But I think they need to start winning games like this if they actually want to do better than how they...
A big concern for why they didn't win the Champions League finals last season was because they didn't have an out-and-out striker on the pitch. And they still failed to get one in the summer. Going up against PSG with Messi having opened his PSG account with the last meeting against City, and since then has now scored his first League One goal. Manchester City still failed to have a striker. Are you certain that the same issues that plagued them last season, the inability to break down a well-organized defense with a striker, a strong number 9 as a reference point, will not simply continue to plague them in this Champions League season against opposition as strong as PSG?
The beauty of City is that anyone can actually score goals. Is it Raheem Sterling when it comes up, he scores? Is it Ferran Torres? Is it Gabriel Jesus? Is it even Bernardo Silva or Riyad Mahrez? Kevin De Bruyne also is in the mix. So all of these players can actually score goals. They are difficult to hold down, but I think they can break down PSG. But without a Kevin De Bruyne who is going to be absent for this game, it's dicey. It's really dicey. But I think both teams have qualified so far so good, then they should just.
Now, a FIFA proposal for a World Cup every 2 years and changes to the Club World Cup could cost the big domestic football leagues and UEFA around 8 billion euros per season in lost TV rights and match day and commercial agreements, according to a report commissioned by the leagues. More frequent international competitions, as well as additional international club games, could lead to major changes in the national leagues, including a reduction in the number of teams competing in them, a shift from weekend to weekday games, and fewer domestic games, the report said. The report compiled by the consultants CKPMG and FTI's Delta Partners predicts that in addition to cutting club revenues, such a move would hit viewer interest in games. It would also reduce advertisers' interest in domestic football and put strains on players, leading to poorer plays, it said. The biggest hit would be to TV revenues. It calculated that the 40 biggest domestic leagues around the world and UEFA club competitions like the Champions League stand to lose as much as 5 billion euros per season in audio-visual deals alone, more than a third of what the leagues make in TV rights today. The study estimates that the leagues would lose more than 1 billion per year in visual rights due to a decrease in number of matches, 1.75 billion euros due to a shortened calendar, and another 901 million euros for the changes in the schedule, with weekend games being transferred to midweek. The total revenue in audiovisual rights generated by leagues would drop from more than 14 billion euros to 9 billion. The study projects. The report took in various scenarios, but in all of them, leagues projected that starting from the 2024 to 2025 season, they would be forced to reduce to 18 teams and to finish their season in early May to fit FIFA's plans. It was not clear how many matches might be dropped. The report will be presented at the World League Forum's annual meeting next week. The 2018 World Cup generated 5.37 billion in revenue for FIFA, which is still not enough to make up for that 8 billion drop. Now, obviously, a lot of people have had a lot of opinions about this. Now we are getting to see just how much effect it will have on the numbers and revenues typically generated by clubs around the world. Is this still a good idea? How is FIFA going to make up for this shortfall?
Well, football is a game of business, apart from the fact that most of us fans would love to watch football. But majorly, football is a game of how much income can be generated. And I think that is actually what the organizers here are trying to look into. Having said that, I also think that, coaches and players sometimes have come out to speak on how pictures have been congested. These players play a whole lot of tournaments and it has an effect on them. Let me give an example. A teacher who is told to teach 3-4 subjects, with several periods, he cannot give you the best. And that is exactly how it is too with these players. Sometimes, because of how good they are, they play, week in, week out for their club. They also play for the national team competitions, international trophies.
Shayo, it seems we've
like
run
that.
out of time, Shayo, but I appreciate your presence. My biggest worry, of course, is that this will lead to an increase in ticket sales, and the increase in need to come closer to the previous standard of revenue will be passed on to the viewers. Now, thank you, Shaya, for joining us this morning. Always appreciate you. And to everyone at home or at work, we appreciate you joining us here. We know you have many options, but we love your presence. My name is Mikhail Tinubu, Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa.